Okay, so as everyone's rolling in, it's so beautiful to see. As you can see, like I'm lighting up more and more as more faces join us this evening. But hello, we want to first announce and let everyone know that this call is in fact being recorded. So if you can please make sure you're muted when you're not speaking, and please put any questions or feedback or anything in the chat for us, please, while we go through our announcements and things for this evening. I also would like to highlight for everyone that we do have live transcription for this production for this meeting tonight. Thank you, Michelle. For this meeting tonight. So if you need closed captioning, you can go ahead and click on the more option on your screen, and you can add live transcript so that you are able to follow along with us if that is needed. But super happy to have everyone this evening. I do want to invite everyone to join us in the chat and getting acquainted this evening. If it's your first time here, we love to recognize and acknowledge those who are joining us for the very first time. If you're here for the first time, put it in the chat, let us know, and also tell us how you found us. We're curious to know what brought you here this evening, if it's your first time. And hey, even if it's not your first time and you want to tell us what brought you here tonight, put it in the chat. We'd still love to see it. But super excited to see everyone. We'll give it a couple of minutes for folks to continue to join us, to log on, to get settled. And while we do that, I'll just cover our agenda really briefly, and then me and my amazing co-host can go ahead and introduce ourselves, and we can jump right into our November member meeting. So first and foremost, what our agenda looks like is this brief period of housekeeping and welcoming. Then we will have our official welcome and member recognition with Daisy and with the support of our healing team as well. And then we'll go over some updates. We'll talk about what's going on at Initiate Justice in general, as well as what each of our committees are working on and what their updates are for all of you this evening. After that, we'll share with you our calendar of events so everyone knows what's going on this month, when and where to plug in. But also our main segment, after we cover all of our updates, is going to be a segment of feedback on our existing committees. So the committee work is how we really make change, how we accomplish all of the change and work that we're doing. And so we're going to take some time to get feedback from each and every one of you on what our committees are doing well. Where can we improve in our committees? How do you like being a part of the committees that you are actively involved in? And just really generating some insight from each and every one of you who are involved with our committees. And that's our main segment. If it's your first time this evening, after we finish our main segment, after the meeting comes to a close with the reminders and upcoming events, please stay on for an additional about 10 to 15 minutes because Daisy and I will have our new member orientation. So for those of you who are just getting familiar with Initiate Justice, we'll give you a little bit more background into who we are and what we do so that you can be brought up to speed with everyone else here this evening. But I'm not going to take up too much time. Again, welcome. Call is being recorded. Closed captioning is available. And my name is Antoinette Ratcliffe. I am the outside organizing manager with Initiate Justice, and I am co-hosting our member meeting as usual with Daisy.
Thanks, Antoinette, for getting us settled in. So hi, everyone. My name is Daisy. I serve as Initiate Justice statewide advocacy manager. If you have been part of the Institute of Impacted Leaders program or one of our returning members that's been involved in some of our committees, we've probably interacted in some of those spaces. But if you're here for the very first time, welcome. We hope that tonight will be a very informative evening for you, especially since we'll be going over our committee structure, which is actually how folks can directly plug into our work and support our efforts. So we're actually going to be doing a majority tonight of like getting feedback from folks as far as like each of the committees that we work with. But just wanted to give everybody that warm welcome. And again, for folks that are just coming in, We do have live transcription that's available on your Zoom account. You should be able to turn that on to view the transcript or show the subtitles on your screen. So just wanted to flag that for folks. And again, we are recording the meeting, so feel free to turn off your video if that's something that you choose to do so. But otherwise, feel free to utilize the chat to ask us questions, say hi to each other. We do review the chat after the member meeting. So if there are questions that we weren't able to get to, we do circle back, especially since you all had to register for tonight's meeting. So grateful for being in space with everybody tonight. And I'll go ahead and get us started with our program for tonight. So I actually wanted to start off first by announcing that we lost a member of our community last week. And so I wanted to share with everybody so that we can honor and take a moment to recognize Sharon Stewart, who was a very active, I didn't think it was going to be this hard, member of our community, involved in so many committees, advocacy, outside membership, inside membership. A lot of folks who were in space with Sharon probably interacted with her in those spaces this year where she'd be contributing to the work that we are doing, brainstorming ideas, and really helping put and move our efforts forward. Sharon was instrumental in helping brainstorm the Inside Journal that we launched this year to over 45,000 folks that received that on the inside. And really, Sharon was in this fight, but long before Initiate Justice, having been a lifelong civil rights leader in the community, wanting to pursue justice for our communities, but also fighting for justice for her family and her son, who was also incarcerated, and also trying to find relief for him. So it was very sad, news that I delivered that, but I wanted to share that so that folks in the space could hear about the impact that Sharon had with our group. And there are members who are among us who knew Sharon closely. And so we offer our condolences to everybody who's in this moment of grief, sharing this moment with grief with us. I also wanted to share, or actually allow some of our team members who wanted to also recognize Sharon and give space for that. So I think, Greg, you wanted to also share a couple of words with folks on the team. And after that, if anybody else wants to do that before we take a moment of silence before resuming with the rest of the program.
Yes, thank you, Daisy. I just think everything you said was really well said. And I think, everybody who knew Sharon knew her impact, how much she cared and she supported, and especially folks who are participating with her in the advocacy committee. She was there every month, always pushing us, always making sure, right, that we're not leaving folks behind, that we're considering mental health and all of these things when we're doing this work. And I know that I'm a stronger advocate from having spent time with her. I think IJ is a stronger organization from having her wisdom and everything she was able to share with us. So yes, I think it's obviously just such an incredible loss, and just so sorry to everybody who knew her and worked with her, family, friends, everybody in community. I think the best way that we can honor her legacy and her memory is to continue to do this work, to continue to go hard and make sure her son can come home and we can change all these systems so it never happens again. But this is really sad. I was, I know we all knew her, so we're all sharing and holding that grief together right now. But she was I just wanted to chime in with how much she was a big role in the advocacy committee and in the policy space. And I just feel like I grew so much from getting to know her over this past plus year, and I'm sure everybody else was the same. So it's just a big loss. But let me pass to you, Daisy.
Thank you, Greg. I wasn't sure if anybody else on the team wanted to share any remarks with the community. I just wanted to give space for that for a moment. And if not, I wanted to just take a moment to hold a moment of silence for Sharon. And if it's all right with folks, I just wanted to uplift her photo, just so folks can take a moment to take that in while we honor Sharon and her dedication to the work that we do. So if we could just hold a moment of silence and remember Sharon and the impact she had with the community, would appreciate that. Thank you, friends. And again, like Greg said, we have to continue this fight and this work because she definitely did not give up on her son or her community. And it's just another reason why we need to continue to dismantle these systems that separate families. And, you know, in this case, a son that is now grieving the loss of his mother and the CDCR and all the implications in place, we have to keep fighting. So we hope that tonight's meeting we can dedicate it to Sharon and honor her lifelong work, her legacy, and continue to build moving forward to uplift that in her work. So thank you so much for joining us with this moment with everybody in our meeting tonight. And if you have anything you'd like to share with everybody, feel free to use the chat box to do that. I'm actually going to pass it over to Rashida, who's going to hold us in a grounding exercise before we proceed with our program.
Thank you, Daisy, for that. Again, my name is Rashida, and I am one of the healing facilitators. And I come with a heavy heart. Just seeing a picture is one thing when we speak of names, but it's another when we see pictures. And so I think that that's why we stress the importance of always holding our loved ones and saying their name, because they are individuals. And so I invite you to get in a comfortable position. Relax your shoulders, your body, soften your gaze, and please feel free to turn off your camera if that is what's comfortable for you. So tonight's breath work will be surrounded and guided with gratitude in mind. So we are currently breathing for gratitude. I want you to ask permission to be fully present in this moment as we are reminded and acknowledge the things that we are grateful for. Let's take 3 collective deep breaths together. Inhaling through our nose. Slowly exhaling through our mouth. Again, inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. And slowly exhale. And as you start to catch the pace of your breathing, I want you to think of some things that you are currently grateful for. Perhaps you are grateful for waking up this morning, for community, for your children, for career, or for family. I want you to acknowledge those things in this moment. Notice the feeling you feel when you think of all the things that you're grateful for. and acknowledge that feeling, whether it's joy, happiness, peace, or love. Now, as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, I want you to send thanks to every part of you that has gotten you to this very moment. Acknowledge your strength, your determination, your ambition. Acknowledge the love you have for your loved ones and the reason why we are here in this fight together. Showing gratitude, especially for those who are not here or able to be here with us. Remembering to breathe in and breathe out. And as we continue to do so, I want to remind you that there is power in being grateful and that gratitude is a gift. Remember to always show gratitude for where you are, for who you are, and the things that are around you, especially if it brings you love. As we take our last 3 collective breaths together, I want you to breathe in gratitude for yourself. Inhale a breath of gratitude for our community. And lastly, inhale a breath of gratitude for the work that we do, because it is important. And when you are ready, I invite you back into the space and simply drop into the chat how you are feeling and write at least one thing you're grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Rashida. And Rashida is one of our outside organizers that that leads the healing committee, which we'll be hearing about later on in our meeting tonight. This is some of the exercises that they utilize in the healing circles that we offer to our members. And so please feel free to share in the chat what you're grateful for. And again, grateful for you all being here in community. And thank you again, Rashida, for that. So while we go ahead and get those in the chat and seeing what folks are grateful for, being in space with everybody, for the community, for the Initiate Justice family that continues to uplift the work that we are doing to bring our loved ones home. I wanted to welcome some of our, first of all, if you're a first timer, welcome again to our meeting, but we have some of our former inside members and organizers in the space with us tonight. So folks who are new to our work, we have over 45,000 folks who are incarcerated and that are subscribed to our course, their magazine that we send out. And that's kind of where we give updates as far as the work that we are doing. And so folks that receive that are called inside members. And then we also have inside organizers that actually go out and in the prison locations that they are at, organize folks who are incarcerated to write letters of support or do calls to action to help uplift the legislation that we are working on. Some of our team members are actually former inside organizers and now on staff. So we have a couple of folks here with us in the space. I saw Emiliano, who is a former inside member that is out now enjoying his freedom. So please join me in welcoming Emiliano on, coming home after serving 29 years. So welcome, Emiliano, to the meeting. We hope that you are able to take in the experience of an Initiate Justice member now that you're out here in the free world and joining us in this fight. I believe we also have one of our other Insight organizers, Sylvia. I'm not sure if she's in the room, but if you are, Sylvia, welcome to the meeting. We are grateful for all of your contributions as an Insight organizer, and just excited to have you both out here with us in this fight. And so just wanted to take a moment to recognize that. We also have two new outside members. So for folks on the outside of prison walls that want to be engaged with Initiate Justice, we have a membership structure where you either go through the Institute of Impact Leaders program and become an outside organizer upon graduation, or you attend the monthly meetings, and to become a outside member, you have to attend 3 out of 4 consecutive member meetings, and also be active in at least one of the committees that you'll hear about later this evening, as well as attending the orientation that we offer for first-time members at the end of the meeting. And so we are welcoming tonight 2 new outside members to the Initiate Justice family. So please join me in welcoming Casey and Rachel. Rachel G, because we have a couple of Rachels in our community, but Rachel G and Casey, who are officially onboarded as outside members. So we will be reaching out to you to send you a welcome package that will contain some Initiate Justice gear, so that way you can go out and represent IJ in your communities. And so very grateful to have you with us in our work. But with that being said, I actually am going to pass it over to my colleague Antoinette, who's going to share organizational updates with folks as far as like what's going on the organizational front.
Thank you, Daisy, so much for like that warm welcoming. Thank you, Rashida, for grounding us. I definitely feel like I am more at peace every time that I participate in one of your exercises. So thank you. And so welcome home. Sylvia, Emiliano, we're grateful to have you. Thank you for joining us this evening. And I'm just going to get us just started with a couple of updates, and then I'll pass it on to our committees. But first and foremost, I just want to acknowledge that our podcast, Abolition is for Everybody, season 1, the complete season is out now. So we've finished airing the complete season 1 of our Abolition is for Everybody podcast, and we highly, highly encourage you all to listen. So for those who may not be familiar with our podcast, this year we launched a podcast surrounding abolition where our co-hosts really break down and dive into what abolition truly means. And so taking on some of those oftentimes difficult conversations around abolition, and joined by guest issue experts like Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors and Charlene Carruthers, who's the author of Unapologetic, a Black, queer, and feminist mandate for radical movements, and others like LA activist Eunice Hernandez, and so many more. And so we highly encourage that you take some time and listen to our all 9 episodes of season 1. And you can find it anywhere you get podcasts. Abolition is for everybody. You can also follow us on Instagram at abolitionis_. And we want you to catch up on all 9 of those episodes, because season 2 will be airing soon. So stay tuned, stay plugged in. Let us know what you think or what you thought about season 1 if you already listened. You can also listen and provide feedback and access transcripts on our website at initiatejustice.org/podcast. Again, Abolition is for Everybody, anywhere you get your podcasts, or on our website at initiatejustice.org/podcast. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram as well, so that you can stay connected and be notified when season 2 officially airs. So shout out to our season 1 co-hosts, who I believe are all, well, not all of them here, because Jane is not here, But Ra, I know you're with us. Shout out to you. Lee as well as one of our co-host on season 1, and then our executive director, China, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight, but she's usually somewhere around. So shout out to our co-host and thank you for an amazing season 1. I thoroughly enjoyed it and I hope the rest of you will too. And another favorite part of Initiate Justice that I've grown to love, that's not new like the podcast, but has been around since 2019, is our Institute of Impacted Leaders. So the Institute of Impacted Leaders is a 12-week training program in which we teach impacted people about advocacy and about the policy process in the state of California, how to advocate for themselves and for policy campaigns that truly center us as impacted people, and how to organize in their communities. And so we have just finished graduating 4 additional cohorts. That means 4 groups in 4 different locations of our Institute of Impacted Leaders. So as of now, since 2019, we have graduated 13 Institute of Impacted Leaders cohorts in 12 different communities throughout the state of California. So as of this past Saturday, we just completed graduating Santa Barbara, San Jose, San Diego, and Bakersfield. And I know some of you are here because I've seen your faces. Mandy, I've seen Christopher, I've seen Vanessa. I believe Jasmine Rivera is here with us, and Blanca, and Celia, I think I've seen you as well, and Mateo was in the room. Sorry, I'm clicking through the photos to see who I see. Magdalena's with us. So just really shout out to all of our recent graduates. We now have 238 trained outside organizers. That's 238 trained advocates, 238 trained impacted leaders who are joining us in leading efforts to abolish prisons in the state of California. So shout out to all of those, plus all of our other cohorts who have graduated over the past couple of years. I know many of you are here. We have many of us on staff. I personally graduated from the 2nd Los Angeles cohort of the Institute of Impacted Leaders. I'm a proud graduate. I love the program and enjoy continuing to lead the Institute of Impacted Leaders alongside all of our facilitators. So shout out to the facilitators as well. Graham, Yolanda, I know Monica was here, Crystal. I'm not sure if Serafine is with us, or Melinda, or Zykia, but shout out to all of our facilitators for the Institute of Impacted Leaders. If you want to learn more about the Institute of Impacted Leaders itself, or if you're interested in participating in an Institute of Impacted Leaders cohort, first you can learn more on our website, which I just put into the chat, or which I'm typing into the chat now. You can visit tinyurl.com/request-a-cohort, and this will give you access to our interest form, which is what we use to determine where we launch our next Institute of Impacted Leaders cohort. So again, huge congratulations and welcome to our new outside organizers in Bakersfield, San Diego, Santa Barbara, and San Jose. This year we did 8. So shout out to the other cohorts that graduated earlier this year as well. But I just wanted to take some time, and as you can see, I thoroughly love the Institute of Impacted Leaders, especially being a product of it. But the links are in the chat. Learn more on our website, and also sign up to request a cohort if you would like to get involved. That is a training program that is reserved for people who are directly impacted by incarceration. So if you're directly impacted and you want to learn more about advocating, please go ahead and let us know where you're at so we can come toward your area with our next cohorts. And those are the 2 announcements that I wanted to make and wanted to uplift this evening as far as what's happening at IJ, but just a couple of logistics things. So Initiate Justice is having a staff retreat we're all getting together with one another to strategize and plan our next steps. And so the week of November 15th, Initiate Justice will, for the most part, be closed, as all of our staff will be at our staff retreat. And then the following week, which is the week of November 22nd, Initiate Justice will be closed as well for the holiday break. So please keep that in mind as you're reaching out to us. Be patient with us this month with projects, with responses, with assistance, because we do have some office closures throughout this month. But that's all that I have. I see a lot of love in the chat and I love to see it, and I can't wait to go through it. But I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it on to our committees to provide us with some updates. So first and foremost, and we're going to talk more about the committees later, so I'm not going to provide much detail. I'm just going to pass it to each one. So first and foremost, our advocacy committee with Greg and Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. For those who don't know me, my name's Sarah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the policy coordinator here at IJ, and I co-lead the advocacy committee with our policy manager, Greg. So the advocacy committee's goal is to support Initiate Justice's legislative campaigns. We do this by having 3 different events every month. We have policy office hours with Greg, our main committee updates, and then also Abolition Corner, because we all know that the only way to truly end mass incarceration is through abolition. This month, as Antoinette mentioned, IJ will be closed, so we're only going to be having one of those events. It'll be next Tuesday, and it'll be our main advocacy event, even though usually the second Tuesdays are policy office hours. So I will say that one more time. Advocacy committee is not having our usual 3 events this month. We're only going to be having our main advocacy event, and that will be next Tuesday instead of our regular time, the 3rd Tuesday of the month. I will post the RSVP link in the chat, but also, as always, Daisy and Antoinette will be sharing a calendar with all of the committee events at the end of the updates from the committees. And as always, if y'all have any questions or anything, you can email me or Greg. It's greg@initiatejustice.org or sarah@initiatejustice.org. And we can also put those emails in the chat. But I will pass back to you, Antoinette.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And we'll talk more about the advocacy committee and all the other ones later on. So if you have questions, reserve them, keep them. We'll talk about that. Next, we have our Inside Membership Committee with Crystal and Ephraim.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ephraim Ortiz. I'm the Inside Program Associate with Initiate Justice. I use he and his, and I co-lead the Inside Membership Committee with Crystal, who you all know. She's here with us, and just quick updates. As you know, the Inside Membership Committee, we work on responding to all the mail our loved ones send us from inside, all our inside members. Work hard to get them the inside journal as well that we send in quarterly, and update any new member that want to be added to our mailing list. And I just wanted to say that our inside membership wouldn't be what it is without our volunteers, without all of you all that are here. So I want to say thank you first and foremost for all that, because without you all, Initiate Justice, our inside membership wouldn't be what it is. Proud to say that our member numbers is at 45,157 members, about half the prison population in California. So shout out to everybody. We're looking to continue to spread the word. I will keep it short for now. We'll have our next committee meeting Wednesday, November 10th. Wednesday, November 10th will be our next committee meeting, and that'll be at 5:30 p.m. So please RSVP if you haven't yet, and if you want to join it or check it out, for those of you that are new here today, we'd love to have you just so you guys can see what we do at Inside Membership. And contact Crystal or myself at initiatejustice.org and Efrain at initiatejustice.org, and we'll drop the emails in the chat. So I'll pass it back to you, Antoinette. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Efrain. And just another moment for like nearly having half of the state prison population in California on our roster, receiving updates, getting engaged, and being activated. I love to see it. So thank you so much, our Inside Membership team. There was a question in chat we'll probably get to later just regarding the next mail night. So like we talked about, IJ's closed for half of November, but look out for some more information on that for next month. But Inside Organizing with Lee and Adam.
What is up, my social justice family? My name is Lee Gibson, he, him, his, and this is my partner in social justice fighting, Adam Kane. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, fam? Adam Kane here. Pronouns he, him, his. What's going on? First and foremost, off the dribble, off the rip. Welcome home. Welcome home, Sylvia. Welcome home, Emiliano. Please tap in. It's going to be a lot going on, but definitely tap in with me specifically because I definitely want to catch up with y'all, okay? Let's do it. Back to Lee.
Okay, so in Inside Organizing, what we've really been concentrating in is training our inside organizers. Is, if some of y'all don't know, we send in a curriculum to those that want to start to empower their peers. They want to go ahead and take their political power to the next process. And so we teach them, we educate them, we make sure that they know the legislative process. And with that comes a lot of curriculum reviews, make sure that we're giving them a lot of feedback, making sure that they're on point and making sure that they're staying with the actual fight that we have already started, and that is to end mass incarceration and prison abolition. Adam, why don't you tell them about our phone training process?
I got you for sure. So phone trainers are actually training our inside organizers. They are calling in and they are actually getting the one-on-one training to know exactly what we're doing on an everyday basis, right? Beyond just reading the paper. A lot of us done a form of college work, so we know how the engagement is kind of flat. So phone training takes it to that next level to be able to get trained accurately and help other inside members become IOs and other people that's not members become members and pass the word around so we can keep this train going to dismantle and break this system.
But we don't stop there. We get these mentors going inside also. For the mentor program, that's our peers inside that we've already trained, that you all have helped us train to teach those folks that they're around on an everyday basis about that same process so they can each one teach one and move up the ladder. But we got something else coming up with IJ too. We're going to start doing workshops next year. And so with these workshops, we're going to be going in and we're going to be teaching the people live and in person how to do the legislative process, how to set up bills, how to advocate for themselves, how to file 602s, and how to fight for their right to come home and join us in these meetings. So if you're looking to join us, please, we meet the first Thursday of every month. And in that IO committee, that's where we want to talk about the process that we're going through. That's where we want to be able to bring people in. And that's where we need you to help us go ahead and grade these curriculums, phone train people up, and prepare our other folks, outside organizers and staff, to go in and do these trainings, these workshops. So Adam, do you have anything to add?
I'm good. Y'all have a good night. Let's get ready for the meeting. Let's go in.
So if you want to hit us up, you can hit up Adam at initiatejustice.org, or you can hit me up at Lee at initiatejustice.org. Antoinette, it's all you.
Thank you so much. How do I follow that energy? I love it. I'm so grateful that our inside organizing team and our inside membership team is so lit, so engaged, and so hyped, because I mean, there's so much to be excited about. So I love it. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Lee. And actually next I have our outside membership committee with myself and Daisy. And so real quick, before I pass it to Daisy to cover our updates, if you're joining us tonight for the first time, me and Daisy want to know, actually everyone here at IJ, we want to know, we want you to introduce yourself in the chat, please, if you're joining our member meeting for the very first time. Also, please let us know how you heard about us. What brought you here tonight? How did you find out about Initiate Justice? But I'm going to pass it to Daisy for our committee updates.
Yeah, thanks for that, Internet. And I also just want to uplift that in the chat, wanted to name that Troy is also someone that is a returning community member. So welcome home, Troy. I just wanted to make sure folks who hadn't been able to catch up with the chat also are aware that you are in space with us, and grateful for you being here, to wanting to plug into the work. And we hope that you're able to take information. And we have Craig, who's also joining us, who's also one of our outside organizers. So we are happy to see you in the space with Initiate Justice again, Craig, and welcome home to you again. So the outside membership committee focuses on making sure we can connect with folks in the community on the outside, and really building those relationships, bringing folks in, meeting them where they're at, and also going out and really spreading the word about Initiate Justice to engage community with the work that we do. The approach that Initiate Justice has, as some of you may have already been known, is really twofold, where we focus on organizing folks inside of state prisons, but also on the outside and empowering people who are directly impacted, like everybody on our staff, and all of our outside organizers, with the tools and knowledge they need to help us succeed in the campaigns that we are working on. So what we focused on for the month of October was, we actually have a couple of student interns, and some of them are actually in the space with us. So please join me in welcoming Shane. I think I saw a couple of others in the room, but these are students from UCLA who are with us for the next couple of weeks, and they are going to be working with us on some projects that we've identified that will help us be able to provide more resources for our community, to help them be able to stay tapped into the work that we are doing, and to really just kind of help facilitate the action items that we put out. So that's something that we are going to be announcing in the next couple of weeks, once they start working and finalizing the project itself. But we're hoping that through these efforts, we're able to get feedback from folks as far as like if these resources are helpful, and if so, what are some other things that we can work on. And we'll touch more about this in the main segment of tonight's program, but just wanted to share that that is something that is in the works, and we're excited to share with you all once that project has been completed by our interns and organizers that are being paired with them. And in addition, we have recently started to have opportunities to table at community events. As some of you who've been involved with Initiate Justice, COVID really knocked us down, and we weren't able to really be out in the community in person due to safety procedures, and so everything's been online. But we recently started to participate at in-person events and engaging with local communities in the Los Angeles region. So we're hoping to be able to expand on that moving forward, and really build more opportunities across other regions in California. And again, something that we'll emphasize more in the main segment of tonight's portion, but really just wanted to share that that's kind of something that the outside membership committee has been working on in terms of developing and building those ideas as far as like how we can continue to do that out in the community. And Antoinette, if there was anything I left out, feel free to share, but that is the update that I have. And for folks who are interested in supporting the committee for outside membership, we meet the last Wednesday of the month, the week before the member meeting. This month, because we're off, we're actually meeting on Tuesday, November 30th at 5:30. But if folks want to reach out to Antoinette or myself with any questions, we'll drop our emails in the chat, but it is Daisy, DAISY, @initiatejustice.org. And you can reach Antoinette at initiatejustice.org, ANTOINETTE. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we welcome any questions and anybody who's wanting to get involved with the work that we are doing. But I'll pass it back over to you, Antoinette.
Thank you so much. And I did drop our emails earlier up in the chat, but the chat is blowing up. So I love to see it. But Daisy, if you want to plug our emails into the chat one more time, we will also share out our calendar of events with clickable links for you to RSVP for any of these meetings that you're hearing about this evening. And so real quick, because we want to stay connected with all of you, I'm just going to ask if you want to stay connected with us on social media, follow us at Initiate Justice on any platform, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. And also, if you want to get connected with others here tonight, drop your IG handles in the chat. Let us know where you're at. We'll follow you. We have several organizers and members that are super active on Instagram. So if you want to stay connected, drop your handles in the chat and we'll all connect with one another. But I'm going to pass it to our healing committee with Miss Rashida.
Hello, hello, hello. I am back. Again, for those who are new, healing is simply what it sounds like. We just provide space for you to come process your experiences in community, in love, and in a safe space. And so we have several circles that we hold throughout the month, with all of member-led, and it's community. Although we facilitate, it's still what you bring to the circle. And again, we hold each other in community and in love. So some of our updates for the healing committee is for October, we had a really good turnout. So I want to extend appreciation and thanks for everyone who shared a post, invited a friend, and then who just simply showed up for yourself. Because when you show up, it's really you showing up for yourself and for each other. So I want to give a shout out to that. We're also looking for ways to improve our committee and improve the work that we do. So later, if you have any tips, suggestions, anything that you would like to see with healing, please feel free to extend that advice and that expertise, because we are looking for it. We are looking to host a special circle before the end of the year. So be on the lookout for that if you don't fit the criteria for the circles that we do hold. And then lastly, in our healing committee, I want to give a shout out to those who showed up, because we really did some good work. We updated some Take Care Tuesday stuff. We brainstormed some stuff to go for our inside members. So it was really productive meeting. Again, thank you to all who showed up and put in the work. So we have our men's circle, if you want to jot this down, which is led by Graham and Manny. It's November 8th of this month at 6 p.m. We have our formerly incarcerated circle, which is led by the great Miss Betty and Graham, November 15th. We have our impacted loved one circle, which is being led by me, November 17th. And then our healing committee is November 29th. So if you're feeling called, please come out, reach out. And yeah, that's all we have. I look forward to seeing you all. And again, remember to prioritize your mental health and deep breathe when you need it. This is a season of gratitude. Please hold on to that and be reminded of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashida. So yes, healing in itself is revolutionary, right? So make sure that you all take the time to take care of yourselves, process your experiences, and we'll get some feedback as to what we can do from our healing committee to help aid you in that process. And so real quick, what I would like to do is share with everyone a couple of things. One is, if you're joining us for the first time or the second time, or if you haven't joined a committee and there's one that spoke to you here tonight and you want to get involved, there's a link that Daisy just dropped in the chat. Please sign up, make sure that you are on our membership roster, and let us know which committee you're interested in. Even if you're not ready to join a committee, but you're joining us tonight and you just want to sign up and make sure that you're a part of Initiate Justice and you're on our roster, you can also use that link to sign up and make sure we have your information and we can continue to connect with you. And also wanted to share our calendar of events. Daisy, are we screen sharing the calendar of events as usual? Okay, so in just a moment, you are gonna see the calendar of events pop up on the screen. There it is. And so our November 2021 calendar of events, as you can see, there's a week of kind of no action. Again, Initiate Justice will be on a staff retreat the week of the 15th, and we will be closed the week of the 22nd. But this calendar here, which we will also drop in the chat and share out afterwards, is where you can access all of our upcoming events, including links to join. Clicking on any of those links takes you to the RSVP form so that you can register and get the Zoom link for any of these meetings. And if any other meetings should come up for this month, we'll make sure that the calendar is updated. But if there isn't anything else, which I think that is everything for our updates, I'm excited to get us rolling with our feedback segment. So I'm gonna pass it to Daisy in a moment, but what we are going to do for the remainder of the evening is get some feedback from each and every one of you on our 5 active committees. And we want to do this because, one, Initiate Justice focuses on consistent improvement. The only way that we can continue creating change is that we are changing to make sure we're addressing all of the needs of our impacted people. And we're actually doing everything we can to win statewide policy campaigns and continue to empower and activate all of our impacted members in our communities. And so this is only done by getting feedback, you telling us what we're doing right, what's working, and what we can be doing better, and us strategically moving forward with a plan of action. So Daisy, if you want to get us started with our feedback segment, I'm super excited for it. Also, I'm getting a lot of DMs in the chat. I promise if I don't respond to you from a direct message right now, I read the chat afterwards and I will reach back out to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Antoinette. And we do try our best to get through the messages in the chat, but sometimes when we're facilitating, it's kind of hard for us to go through in there. But know that if there is a pertinent question in there that we missed, we do circle back and contact you to provide a response if we weren't able to do that. But before we go on to this portion, I just wanted to quickly lift up and acknowledge our communications team for the work that they've been doing and blowing us up on TikTok. So we've mentioned in the chat, but again, lifting up for folks who maybe have not had a chance to catch up in the chat. We are on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. But we are also now on TikTok. If you haven't heard of TikTok, it's an application where it's trending. There's videos that folks post on there, but IJ has been blowing up thanks to our communications team. We're at over 42,000 followers on TikTok. Michelle, I don't want to steal your spotlight, so I don't know if you wanted to share anything else with everybody about that, just to get folks a little bit more information on, our presence on TikTok.
I suddenly got super sweaty. I'm sorry, y'all, but yeah, we recently blew up on TikTok. We have 42,000 followers. I think more than 350,000 total views. Actually, it was more than 450,000 total views. But follow us. Every like, share, comment really does help and helps us spread our work of abolition to everybody. We've been having a lot of fun making abolitionist content in like a fun, silly way. I saw somebody here, Christopher, you found us on TikTok, so clearly it's working. We're just having fun with it, honestly, like sharing our work with everyone, as you can see, like our little dancing. But yeah, follow us, comment, share with everybody. We're just having a really good time. It's hard to summarize what TikTok is. It's just a bunch of silliness, to be honest.
Thanks, Michelle. So to kick us off for this segment, we actually wanted to ask everybody, as far as like if they are involved with a committee, how many they are involved with. And so we're going to launch a poll just to get a temperature check of where folks are at. And in addition, what committees you'd be interested in, just from hearing the updates. And again, we're going to be going over that momentarily, but just wanted to give folks a second. On your screen, you should have a poll come up question where you can select response. Please feel free, and this is, to my knowledge, anonymous. So I can't see who's selecting what, just the results. But this is just, again, for us to get a temperature check of like where folks' familiarity is with the committee structure, since this portion of the meeting is to get feedback on really making sure that we can uplift the committees to be as best as possible to support the work that we are doing. So I'm just kind of talking to kill time while folks are still answering, but we actually have almost 50% of folks completing the poll. So thank you for those who have already participated, and the number keeps going higher and higher. So we'll just give folks another 10 seconds or so, and then we can kind of see where everybody is at. And again, honesty is helpful for us, just so we know if you're a first timer, maybe you haven't had capacity to join a committee, or if it's something that one of the committees intrigued you based off the updates that we went through, that would be helpful for us to know. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right. So I don't know if I can share the results. If folks can see on their screen the results, I'm seeing head nods. So it just looks like we have almost half of the folks who are in the space that answered the survey that actually are not involved in a committee yet. Some folks are involved in at least one, and then we have others who are also involved in more than one committee. And also seeing that some of the committees, it looks like we're about equal in terms of like interest on the committees that we have. So folks are definitely interested in learning more about advocacy committee. So we're actually going to be covering all of these committees and their plans for 2022 and how you can support that. But thank you for participating. We just kind of wanted to, again, get that result just to get us started. So I'm actually going to share my screen for this portion to help guide this section. So let me pull up this portion of the screen. See if it lets me do this. Okay. So what we wanted, again, as Antoinette explained, we wanted to gather from folks is just some feedback from you as a community as far as like the committee that we are going to be discussing and ways to improve that. Because my screen is blocked out, I'm wondering if folks can, on the team, can do time checks just to make sure that we are on track. But we're actually going to get started with the advocacy committee. And Sarah, or Greg, if either of you wanted to just briefly cover some of the plans that folks that the committee that you all have for the committee in terms of like workshops that you're planning on doing, and maybe about a minute or two just to get folks just a general overview to get us so that we can go ahead and facilitate this portion of the meeting.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned earlier, the goal of the advocacy committee is to support our legislative campaigns, and we do this by giving y'all the tools and the knowledge necessary for y'all to feel like and be policy experts. So we all know that y'all are the experts of your own experience, and you are the closest to the solution, being closest to the problem. And the purpose of advocacy committee is kind of to bridge that expertise with policy expertise. So going forward next year, we'll still continue having our structure of 3 meetings, but we're going to have more strategy around what each meeting is. So we're going to go into more specifics around specific topics, such as how Initiate Justice is abolitionist and not reformist. What is the life cycle of a bill? What's the budget process and why does it matter? What is a deep dive of our 2022 bills? Should we just practice calling our representatives and talking about IJ bills together, doing a deep dive of different online resources? practicing legislative visits, and going over how Initiate Justice decides what we co-sponsor and what we support. So we're looking for folks who have gone to advocacy committee, any feedback or any feedback in general from anyone regarding these proposed topics or what you would like to learn from advocacy committee.
Thank you, Sarah. And folks, you're more than welcome to share in the chat if you have feedback on that. But really what we're looking to be able to take away from this for the committee leads is in this particular case for advocacy committee, if the topics that we have lined up so far are helpful to committee members who are involved in the work of the advocacy committee, and if there are other topics that you'd like to see covered, that's something that the committee leads would also love to see as well. But also, what is it that you're hoping to walk away from these sessions? So just wanted to flag that again. Feel free to utilize the chat box because we are going to go back and see this and go back and reread. But we also do have to get through 4 other committees, so we're going to be spending a couple of minutes on each. But if folks want to share out with the larger group, feel free to raise your hand, and you can also offer that input that way as well. But again, we're going to be spending just a couple of minutes on each committee since we have to get through all 5 of them within the next hour or so. But yeah, if anybody who is either new and looking at this as a new first-time member or already involved with the committee and learning the tools that advocacy committee has provided to support the work that they are doing and would like to see additional resources and what you want to walk away from, please feel free to share out and raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Real quick, I want to uplift a request in the chat that's actually going to be addressed, I believe, later this month, if I'm not mistaken, which is how does IJ decide on what bills to co-sponsor or support? So if I'm not mistaken, that's actually going to be addressed in their next meeting.
Yes, and Sarah just uplifted in the chat that's actually taking place next Tuesday. So that would be a good place for you to sample what that would look like and getting that feedback and also seeing that reading the chat just to see yeah, so yeah, that's something that we are doing. And then somebody also made a comment as far as like the healing committee, which we are going to be covered as well later on. But for this portion, for advocacy committee, if there is that feedback, we'd love to hear that. Because as Greg says, we need you all to be our grassroots lobbyists to be able to do support the work that we are doing. So they'll train you. We just need to know what do you need to know so that way you can have the tools with you to effectively advocate for those legislation.
And I'll just quickly add as well, again, we saved the chat, so we'll make sure to note everything that everyone is saying in the chat. And then also, if any ideas come up later for anyone, feel free to message me or Greg, and I can put our information in the chat again. And then to uplift Antoinette's question, is there any support or any additional tools, resources, webinars that y'all would like to see? Highlighting ones that are listed or any that we don't have listed.
Uplifting some things coming through the chat is so just deep dives on particular bills that we've already addressed. So if that's something that we'll be doing also, let's see. Also, Selena's asking if there's anything that's prevention based. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, Selena, but prevention-based, I don't know, bills or anything related to advocacy planned for the future.
Yeah, honestly, my brain is kind of scrambled right now, but just kind of, what is it? Let me gather my thoughts and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, no worries.
But I am seeing that there is a high amount of folks that are also chiming in with implementation and wanting to see that. And I don't know if folks that commented specifically on the implementation, if you wanted to elaborate what exactly you'd like to see to help you with that. So I know Adriana shared in the chat with implementation, as well as somebody else. And Jane, I see your hand is up, so feel free to share or elaborate more on that.
Yes, I mean, a lot of the missing piece of, some of these great bills is CDCR, the bureaucracy, not implementing or implementing in a way that undermines what the spirit of the bill was. There just this past year, and it was supposed to go into effect this January, the elderly parole being moved down, moving the age down, moving the number of years served down, and nobody's parole dates are changing. So that's just one example of so many. The proposition, obviously, we all know, and I know that I first got involved with Initiate Justice, I think, around hearing about the implementation of Prop 57 and going to make public comment at CDCR. So I think that it's such an important piece to the change that we want to see. And it is sadly, often we face resistance. So that's why I think it's would be a really good thing for this committee to also, I realize they've got a lot that they are planning, which is great. But it would be, I think, yeah, I've said enough there.
That's really helpful, Jane. Thank you. And Greg, I'm not sure if you had anything to add, but I'm also thinking about how, in addition to diving deeper into the implementation piece, how that also really does connect with how we write the bill language, how bill language is written. So kind of connecting that back to the other questions folks were asking about how we write the bill language. Well, that very much is influenced by knowing that CDCR will drag its feet on everything and kind of taking into account the strategy for giving it our best shot at these things being implemented. But Greg, I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything or if that sparked any thoughts for anybody else, but thanks so much, Jane.
Greg added in the chat to join them next week. So join us next week to definitely talk about that, the advocacy committee. And I plugged, I think, that RSVP link. I can do it once more, but Tuesday, November 9th at 5:30. And I'm going to be a typical Virgo and keep us on track of time. So I'm going to ask that any other feedback or input. I see someone actually unmuted themselves, so I'll let you go ahead. Yeah.
I just got it. I already did the RSVP for the 11-9 committee.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Any other feedback for advocacy? Please continue dropping it in the chat. Let us know, let them know what can we do to improve the effectiveness of our advocacy committee. Sarah dropped the RSVP link in the chat again, and also feel free to continue reaching out if you have thoughts after this meeting to Sarah and Greg, and it's just our names at initiatejustice.org. So Sarah at initiatejustice.org, Greg at initiatejustice.org. If you don't remember their names, Daisy, Antoinette, any name you remember, we'll make sure your feedback gets to the correct committee. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And Daisy, can we move along to our other committees as well?
Yeah, so next up we have inside membership. And so I'm going to turn it over to the team that runs this committee to, again, briefly share out as far as like what their plans are for the upcoming year and what it is that we're looking for from folks.
Hi, everyone. I'll try and make it brief, but I realized I have quite a lot of things here. But inside membership is the update that Efrain gave at the beginning of the meeting. And inside membership is the department of IJ that has 45,000 currently incarcerated members. And our goal is to build the political power and advocacy skills of our currently incarcerated members. So thanks to all of the volunteers, outside members, and outside organizers, we have a great infrastructure. We have built a great infrastructure in the past year to enter new members into our mailing list, to the response to their mail. From the moment we receive an envelope to the moment our members receive a response, it has been smooth. We have templates available. We have mail nights where all of you come to our LA office or join us via Zoom to make sure that our inside members get the materials that they need and get their questions answered. And lastly, in the past year, we have created the Inside Journal. Before it was a one-page front and back newsletter with informative information, and now it's 5 pages. I'll drop the last issue in the chat so y'all can take a look. And of those 45,000 members, 2,000 of those are receiving it in Spanish. So we have also implemented a translation process, again, thanks to you all. And now that we have these great infrastructures set in place to manage 45,000 inside members, we want to take it to the next level. So what we want to do and focus on next year is provide more opportunities for our inside members to learn about abolition and gain more political power and advocacy skills. We want them to be connected to the abolitionist movement and provide ways in which they can get engaged in their own liberation. And we want not only to provide more opportunities, but provide creative opportunities. So for example, our inside members submitted over 1,500 letters of support for AB 1092, which went to the legislators, went to the governor's desk. We just sent out, in this issue of the magazine, we sent out a LexisNexis guide, which is step-by-steps on how they can use the law library so they can look at bills and laws on the inside. Requested artwork, for our magazine, and in next year we're planning on having an art gallery. So we want to accomplish all of that. And lastly, we hope to connect with the comms team and connect with our Initiate Justice community and our abolitionist community to build empathy of our inside members and currently incarcerated people. So, when we look at our loved ones, we don't just see a number, we don't just see a CDCR number, we see a human, and a human that has gone through a lot. So we want others to start seeing, like that and build that empathy. So I would love your feedback on how inside membership has done thus far. I see a lot of y'all on here that help with inside membership. So feedback on that and ways in which we can accomplish this in the next year. I know it's a lot, but we're gonna make it happen. And Efrain and myself and the team are gonna talk about this and discuss this during our staff retreat later on this month. So pass it back to you, Daisy.
Thank you for that, Crystal. And I think that's helpful for folks just to get a sense, especially if they're new to Initiate Justice and learning about the committees that, as you heard, it's the work that the Inside Membership Committee does is really expansive in terms of power building on the inside. We have over 45,000 incarcerated members, and that's going to continue to grow as we continue to put out resources like the magazine that is put together by the volunteers. So really to help with those power building efforts, if folks can think of what are some of the gaps that we need to fill in terms of like building that power on the inside, and really uplifting those voices and putting faces to the number of people that we advocate for. So definitely looking for feedback on that. We definitely also want to increase our presence in facilities for women's prisons. So if anybody has an experience with that, that's something that we definitely welcome feedback on, because we want to continue to bring and uplift the number of women that are involved with the work that we are doing, and build leaders out of them to continue to build on their organizing skills. But also we wanted to see if folks have any thought as far as the community members out here, how we can build empathy for our inside members and those who are incarcerated, and really working on changing the narrative with the resources and tools this committee has in place. And so that's something that we are really looking to hear from you all as members of the community who interact with others, you know, when explaining the work that we do and why we do it. In addition, we also want to build leaders out of the folks who are in the committee, especially with helping to host events that are supporting the work that they are doing. So Crystal mentioned 45,000 people and counting, and we continue to receive every single week names of individuals who want to receive the magazine that we are putting forth. And so that requires time for us to enter the information so that way we can register them, and also responding to mail when we send out these news pieces like the magazine. So we are really looking to see what are some resources and tools that folks think they would need to be able to host their own events, and you know, having a community space for folks, and really take on that leadership role to support the work, because as of right now it is falling on Crystal and Efrain to do that, as far as like with the work that we are receiving for inside membership. And lastly, Crystal mentioned that they have big plans as far as like what would they like to take this committee to the next level, and really implementing grassroots fundraising. And we've had a couple of fundraisers earlier in the year that were organized by Crystal, and really helping to do that grassroots fundraising effort on that front, because it costs money to send these beautiful 6-page magazines out to folks. And so we want to continue to do that. What are some of the ways that we can continue to do that? By getting folks to engage with either donating their skills to help with some of the work that we are doing, or putting together these events like the gala that Crystal mentioned. So those are all things that we are looking for feedback on from this committee. I see my chat's blowing up, but I haven't had a chance to go through that. But if folks want to unmute and share out some of their ideas, we'd love to hear that before we move on to the next committee. And I'm reading through the chat, just trying to catch up because there's so many in there, but just wanted to uplift that Jeffrey asked in the chat if messages from the inside, from inside members can be shared on any of the social media platforms, because the artwork that they've seen in the magazine link that we shared and the words were amazing. So an idea there could be a weekly highlight of an inside member. So loving that, and also incorporating interviews to uplift that. Jeffrey, if you wanted to share more out about that, and how as a community member that would entice you to maybe build on that empathy. I think that's where you're going with this. Would love to hear that.
I don't think I have anything super insightful to say about it, other than I just find it inspiring, and you know, just really helps me build the connection with people that we're advocating for. And it's it's just inspiring. So thank you for sharing it tonight.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And some other things I want to uplift for our Inside membership team is they're requesting in the chat. Rachel requested a workshop or like a explanation of some of the subjects in the template so that they understand, you know, what they are responding to folks and to help like identify what they're asking about in those letters. Also asking how can they donate, Crystal, like how can they donate to help with the cost? And so I can share our donation link for that as well. And then also uplifting that they would like to know more about the Inside members too, like their favorite movies, their favorite music, books. Really building that connection off of, you know, what they.
Soraya. Soraya.
And then folks also shared in the chat how they can get in contact with Crystal to continue the conversation in terms of like donations and how to get others to get involved. So feel free to email Crystal in the chat as she dropped her email. But again, sharing for folks who haven't had a chance to catch up with the chat, it is Crystal, CRYSTAL at initiatejustice.org. We understand that this committee definitely has a need for, with contributions that are needed to really uplift that work. So we only have a short amount of time tonight to go through that, but definitely feel free to reach out to Crystal to continue to have those conversations, but also attend their committee meeting next week. And that is also a space where you can share that with the committee leads in their meeting that's happening next Wednesday. I think we'll go ahead and move on to the next committee, Internet, if that's all right. I think I'm looking at the time for wanting to make sure that we can cover all of them. So again, feel free to email Crystal with that if you have any questions, and also Efrain. Efrain is also part of the Inside Membership Committee, so you can contact Efrain at efrain@initiatejustice.org. But continue to share your feedback in the chat because we are going to save that and share that with the committee lead so they can have that at their disposal. But so far, really appreciate what's been dropped in the chat because that will be helpful for us as we continue to move forward to provide tools for our members in supporting the work that we are doing. So next up, we have Inside Organizing. So Inside Organizing, I'm going to actually pass it to Adam to talk more about the immediate need for this committee, which is the curriculum that is sent into our prospective Inside organizers. Adam, if you wanted to talk more about what that curriculum is and what it means for a person to be a grader on this committee, just to kind of get us started with what would be helpful for folks to be able to support with that effort.
For sure. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you. Appreciate it. So as y'all know, Adam Kane, pronouns he, him, his. I am the Inside Program Associate for IJ. So I'm gonna get straight into it, and we're talking about Inside Organizing, and we're talking about the curriculum. So most of us, if not all of us, have been through the Institute of Impacted Leaders. And as going through that institute, we are getting fully equipped, on how to dismantle the system, not only on the inside, but starting with the outside. So now let's flip that, right? So when we look at the curriculum for our inside organizers and everything that we want to train and equip them with is similar and related to the Institute of Impacted Leaders. So just to kind of just give you a general idea of the curriculum, we go over intro to IJ, which is Initiate Justice. We cover abolition, we cover community organizing, civic engagement and the government, improving society through civic engagement, legislative advocacy, and civic engagement. Now, once we send that packet and the curriculum and the workbook, and our pending IOs, if you will, go through actually answering the questions according to the topic. So let's say abolition and all the topics will have maybe like 5 or 6 questions, right? And we want to make sure that our IOs that are coming into being into the role of leadership are being fully equipped, and we are the ones that's grading the curriculums and giving them positive feedback and giving them further insight, right? So they can be able to continue to power build the inside. And so that's what we're calling out. That's what we're asking for, is being able to have more curriculum graders, because we are getting ready to take IJ in a whole, as a family, as an organization, to the next level. So it's very, very important and crucial that we start tapping in a little bit more. Specifically, what I'm asking is being able to get some help, as well as being able to train our incarcerated loved ones, right, going through the IO curriculum and passing on the knowledge so they can continue passing it on. So when we are able to get clearance and we go through everything that's going in there, we can have a full understanding of not only just the Institute of Impacted Leaders as an outside organizer, but as well learning the inside program, so we can be able to pass that to our directly incarcerated loved ones and some of our loved ones that may just be, getting ready to come home, but still can have, access to what organizing is. Because all in all, we want to be able to have our incarcerated loved ones to become members, right, to become IOs, to come home, to continue to work, so we can be able to attack the system. If there's any questions, please drop them in the chat. If you want to speak to me directly about more insight on insight organizing, I believe I dropped my my email in the chat. I will do it again. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, whatever comfortable with you, reaching out for more insight on what insight organizing is do, please feel free to contact me. With that, pass it back to you, Daisy. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. And just to give some context, so Adam is one of our newer team members who actually is a former inside organizer. And so, yes, shout out to Adam for that, being instrumental in really getting folks organized on the inside to help us pass Prop 17. But with that, comes, that experience of having been a former inside organizer, and really the role that they play on the inside, which is so critical to helping us with the work that we are doing in advancing policies, especially when legislators are hearing directly from incarcerated people and their stories and why to them it's important for bills to be passed. And so all of that work is done by our inside organizers who are, with the barriers in place in prison and in the county jails that they are located at, they are doing what they can to make sure folks can get the action items we send in completed and do that. And so we really, this is the immediate need of this committee is we had actually sent out earlier, I think in the year, an inquiry as far as like who would want to, who's interested in becoming an inside organizer. And I believe we received several hundreds of names, if I'm not mistaken, of people who were wanting to join. And so Adam, feel free to add more if you wanted to on that.
Yeah, I forgot one thing, and that was the main thing, and I swear I didn't do this on purpose. Look, we got the meeting tomorrow, so y'all can tap in tomorrow, and y'all can see what the IO committee is really, really about. Not only are we just grading corrects and we going over phone trading, right? We do open up a space to talk about some of the things that we may have covered. And go ahead, some things that we may have covered from our phone trainings and from our grading corrects, right? So we hold a space for our incarcerated loved ones and not just simply grade and answer phones and just be like, okay, no, we hold a space and we discuss and we power build from another level as well, because that's what we are here to do, is power build to impact our communities. So tomorrow night, 5:30.
Thanks, Adam. And yeah, so for I think Jeffrey asked in the chat what it is that a grader is, and that is exactly what it is, Jeffrey, is we are needing folks to review the curriculum and grade those, because that is the step that is needed to be completed before they can become inside organizers. And so there's right now so many packets that are waiting to be graded. And so there's a demand for people to actually take on the role of volunteering to grade that curriculum because Adam and Lee are actually on the front end having direct contact with our inside organizers over the phone or via letters. And so this would really free up time from them so that way they can focus on that direct communication and relaying those action items. And so we're looking for feedback from folks as far as like, if that's something you're interested in, are some of the things that you think would be helpful for you to be able to support with this ask. And so I saw folks dropping some questions in the chat and comments. So if you are a grader, please share what that experience is like so that others can read that. If you have questions, drop them in the chat and we'll make sure Adam has that along with Lee in time for their committee meeting tomorrow. But that is where we are wanting folks to who are interested in plugging in with this committee to support that work on that front. And so this is also a way that you can directly engage with our inside organizers and get to know more about them and why they're interested in doing the work with Initiate Justice and becoming inside organizers. But if anybody wanted to share either being a grader or being part of the committee or interest in being a grader and questions that you have, feel free to share. And Mireya, I see your hand is raised, so I'll turn the mic to you.
Super exciting, you guys, to see so much interest in being able to grade or train. I do phone training, and it is one of the most rewarding parts of what I do, one of the most exciting parts of my day. So if you're interested, it would be so exciting to see new faces tomorrow. Our committee meetings are just as lit as Adam and Lee's performance earlier. We're able to get a lot done, and I'm excited to see everybody. So if you guys are interested in connecting with our IOs, we get to build a relationship. Lee gives us, the ability to be able to connect and not just grade. I don't like to even call it grading or training, but to be able to connect and to be able to learn and grow with our IOs. So I cannot wait to see everybody tomorrow.
Thank you, Mireya. And so we had somebody ask in the chat, Mackenzie, if students under 18 are able to work on something like this. Adam, I don't know if you know that offhand, but I imagine that you'll probably touch base with Lee and can answer that if we provide you with Mackenzie's information.
Yeah, definitely. I can do a follow-up and see what's required, but from the most part, I'm not too sure if it would be a negative. Most likely be a positive, right? Because we want to get you involved, right? We want you to start young and be able to learn this and be able to pass it forward, so we can spread this word of not just saying, hey, we want to abolish prison, right? But actually know how we want to do that. So this information is very, very necessary, and I will find out and be able to give you a follow-up, baby.
Thanks, and we'll make sure we circle back to you, Mackenzie. Mireya, I didn't know if you had anything else to add, if your hand's still up, so just wanted to give you space before we pass it on for the rest of the committees.
Hey, and one last thing. Thank you to everybody that has been helping out with the IO committee thus far, because it's been hectic. So I just want to say a special shout out to everybody, even everybody that's answering the phone, everybody that's been a part of the committee. I really appreciate it, because that opens up space for us to be able to move forward with the organization. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. And if folks have further questions, please reach out to Adam at adam@initiatejustice.org, or you can also reach out to Lee, Lee, at initiatejustice.org. But again, they are having their meeting tomorrow. So we'll drop the link to RZP in the chat. But I'm going to turn it over to Antoinette, who's going to cover outside membership next.
Thank you, Daisy. I just dropped the Inside Organizing Committee meeting RSVP link in the chat, as well as Adam and Lee's emails for you all. So as I mentioned earlier, me and Daisy co-lead the Outside Membership Committee, which really, and I'm going to be very brief so that we can generate some feedback and leave space for our additional committee. But Outside Membership focuses on outreach. So what are some opportunities that we can take advantage of to connect with impacted people and allies in the community? And so what we need for that are members and organizers throughout the state who are able to do tabling events, who are able to take on the task of connecting with and providing information to the community at large. So for us to be able to execute more tabling opportunities next year, we'll need leaders to be able to handle that and join with all of our supporters, all of our members, all of our allies who are in that area where that tabling event is happening, and coordinate a successful outreach effort. And also relationship building. So we want to build more and better relationships with organizations, that like-minded organizations, clubs and things of the sort in other communities that we can begin to build and develop projects with, that we can work with, do outreach with. Some examples of that can look like clubs on college campuses. Some examples of that can look like one that we're working on in the Riverside area with SBX, which is a youth group. And so just different organizations that we can connect with and build relationships with. And also we want to provide you with more tools. So we understand that there are a lot of tools required to do outreach, to organizing your communities, to engage, to advocate. And so we want to just be able to provide some of those basic and fundamental skills to all of our membership base. And that looks like Zoom basics, letter writing, public speaking and storytelling, providing public comment, tools that you can take and you can transfer into various areas of your advocacy work or various areas of your community organizing. And so what are some topics that we should be covering? What are some tools, some basic fundamental tools that we should be providing to all of you as outside members so you can be actively engaged, continue to show up, continue to support us, and even support our other committees? So what are just those fundamental tools that we should be providing through workshops, through webinars, through teach-ins? That's really primarily what we would like to know. And also to help you engage in outreach. Some things that we want to work on are outreach toolkits, where we can send you all of the flyers and materials that you need to go into your community and do outreach. But we want to know what are some ways we can improve the outside membership committee so that we are empowering you and equipping you with everything you need to do that outreach and to make those connections in your community. Or if you already attend the outside membership committee, what are we doing that you want us to continue to maintain that you enjoy about the outside membership committee? More tabling and getting the word out. Yeah, definitely.
I'll give some feedback.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, the IO committee is it's a great place to be. You know, stuff that I like to do, which is basically recruit. You know, talk and talk about what we do. I could talk a lot, and it's always great to be put in space where I'm able to speak about abolition, lived experience, and just being a part of a great organization with people who don't really understand what we do. You know, especially being a part of an organization, where our team, our board of directors, and our founder and executive director, actually cares about the people. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing to be here, and I'm always down, like I told you, to go and speak at colleges, especially when you go to UCLA or other institutions of higher learning. I'm absolutely down to go, unless it's USC. That's out. And tabling events. The only thing that's stopping me is just this monitor on my ankle. But yeah, let's network, and always down for the help the team. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have fun at the retreat.
Thank you. All right, Adam said he'll go ahead and take on USC. Anything else? What are some tools that we need to be providing so that you can do outreach, you can support our outside membership committee, whether that be tabling, whether that be presenting on college campuses, whether that be just doing outreach in front of, facilities and prisons in your area? What do we need to be providing you with? Or just so you can be a better advocate and organizer?
I'll also add that something I've heard a lot of from folks that have participated in tabling events with us this year is how do you talk about IJ because you're still learning how to do the work. And so I think that the tabling experience when they arise, I definitely encourage folks to come and it can be as simple as just watching and picking up as you go. But also like if you feel that you would be better prepared if you had additional tools available, what would help you be more prepared so that when you come to those types of events where you, or even if you're out in the community and you're unsure about how to open up that topic or talk about initiate justice with general community, we are more than happy to hear what needs you think would be helpful to be addressed so that way we can provide you with those tools.
I'm excited to be, this is Christine, and I'm excited to be a part of my very first tabling event coming up here in Riverside. So we have a prep meeting coming up, and I'm just curious to see, what I think maybe I'm putting too much thought into it. I am nervous, but, I'm ready to go out there and just build relationships with people to be able to, and then I think maybe like after that, I'll probably have, some like different, different, like whatever we need to get, started or whatnot, or what I, after my first tabling event, I'll be able to give more of a feedback about what we need or what I think, or something like that. But I'm excited that we have a prep meeting coming up in regards to our first, my first tabling event. So thank you for sharing that with me, Antoinette, and the outside membership committee.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, if you are in the Inland Empire, if you're in the Riverside area, you may have already gotten an email from me. If you're new and you haven't, we will be tabling in Riverside on November 16th. So you can connect with me for more information on that opportunity if you would like to be involved. Taylor, I see you have a hand up. Please share.
Yeah, it was. Oh, thank you, Antoinette. Hey, what's up? My name is Taylor. So I'm a current student, formerly incarcerated, impacted. And one thing that would be great, because I'm thinking about starting a club at the school that I'm transferring to here soon, would be like a standardized like PowerPoint presentation that we could bring when we're attempting to opening up clubs at whatever campus. Something that would be like applicable to each campus. For students, you know what I mean, who are attempting to open up clubs wherever they go. I know there's typically like barriers to entry when it comes to creating a club, such as you have to have like certain units behind your belt, you have to have a certain GPA, things like that. So, I mean, if there was like some kind of standardized PowerPoint presentation to provide to students that wanted to open up their own clubs, it would just make the process a bit easier. So that would be cool. That or like trifold pamphlets, shit like that.
And Taylor forgot to mention that he's an outside organizer, graduate from the San Jose cohort. It's new to his title.
I'm also that. Yeah, I'm an outside organizer, San Jose cohort. Shout out, bang bang.
Thank you. There's like a whole UC discussion going on in the chat, so I'm trying to scroll through. I mean, I'm a baby of the Cal State system, so I'm not in that fight, y'all. But if there's a way to connect with folks at each visiting room in the state, either connecting through IFC or sharing flyers, etc. Yeah, I really like that idea. And if we can brainstorm a way to execute that, I think connecting at the different facilities would be beneficial. Yeah, or even the Friends Outside locations, having our flyers and our information available for them to reach out. Let's definitely talk about that some more, Amy. Anything else? What do y'all need from us so you can conduct outreach? And if there's any thoughts that come up afterwards, please continue to share them in the chat. We are a little bit behind on time. So I'm gonna ask like any additional feedback, please share it in the chat. We'll go through it, or you can email either myself or Daisy, and I'll put both of our emails in the chat so that you can connect with us regarding any feedback that you may, that may come up for you, I'm sorry, after this particular meeting. But and Daisy just beat me to it. Thank you, Daisy. But next we have our healing committee. And so I believe we still have Rashida with us to talk about healing. But just real briefly, the goal of the healing committee is to maintain space for impacted people to process our experiences. And also a future goal, or something that the Healing Committee is working on, is developing and providing more resources and tools for people to use outside of the healing circles in processing and navigating that healing process in their lives. And so we need feedback on what our Healing Committee is doing right. What do you like about the Healing Committee? And is the space provided by our Healing Committee helpful? Why or why not? We want to know. And also, what would you like to see more of? What additional topics should healing be covering and addressing? And what is, in your opinion, what might be missing? What are some things you would like to see added to the Healing Committee? So I know there was a thought mentioned in the chat earlier regarding resources and healing techniques for addressing generational trauma. So definitely uplifting that comment that came to the chat. But Rashida, is there anything you want to add before we open up for people to provide feedback on the Healing Committee?
No, I think you pretty much nailed it with what our goal is. And again, if everyone's not comfortable with sharing and processing their experiences, and that's okay. But when you do come, there's resources for that. We build a curriculum where if this is not the space for you, we can outsource. But just again, prioritizing that for you. And so again, if you have any suggestions, anything that you would like to see, I did write down that someone mentioned like techniques on generational trauma. That's not my lane, but again, the Healing Committee will definitely reach out and possibly have someone come in to talk about it. So there's different things that we can do, but we would just need to hear your voices in order to do so. So if you have anything, just drop them in and we'll do a great job of making sure we can provide that in the year to come.
Thank you, Rashida. I want to allow those who have their hand raised. So on my screen, I see Mateo and then Michelle. Both have their hand raised. So you want to go ahead? Yes, you, Mateo.
Hello, everyone. Such a great meeting. I mean, that chat is blowing up like crazy. It's like every time I look away, there's like 30 more comments, and I love it. I have never been a part of the Healing Committee, but I so want to, because right now I'm really been in therapy for like almost a year now, and I'm having breakthrough after breakthrough and healing childhood trauma and current trauma, but also living in the moment. I learned a new word called equanimity this week, and it's one of my favorite words. It's living in the moment, precisely. And just EMDR therapy is something that I would like to share with people, because I believe in energy and it's about light. And I would love, there's just so much I want to bring, because I'm also doing meditation now and breathing, and it has transformed me in just the month that I've been doing it. I'm just not the same person. I'm just becoming and becoming and becoming. And so I want to be able to, that's close to my heart, because it's what I'm living right now. And I really want to be a part of that. I really want to be able to bring and show the tools, because I can't give it to people, but I can show you what was given to me. And that's what I want to do, is to give it to everyone. That's all.
Thank you, Mateo. Oh, go ahead, Rashida.
I was just gonna shout Mateo. I was able to meet him this weekend, so we're in spaces together, but I was actually able to connect. And so even the power of that, us creating more spaces outside of virtual so we can connect in real time, makes all of the difference. So it was a pleasure meeting you this weekend.
Thank you, Mateo. Thank you, Rashida. Michelle and then Graham.
Thank you. Something that I found very helpful for me during the institute was the conversations I was able to have with people who are formerly incarcerated. Since I do have a brother who's currently incarcerated, I thought that was extremely healing, getting to hear their perspective. So maybe like every so often a space where we can both, maybe like both healing circles merging for us to build space together might be super duper helpful, because that's, I think out of everything, that's been like the most healing for me. I hope others can relate, but that's something I would love to see if it's possible.
I truly want to echo that as a facilitator. Many of our cohorts, we've experienced such transformative energy and such healing amongst family members, and even just amongst those who are not family members, but amongst those who are formerly incarcerated, between those who are formerly incarcerated and those who are supporting loved ones who are currently incarcerated. And that exchange of energy and of insight and that connection and empathizing with one another, it definitely creates a very transformational space. And I've experienced that as a facilitator and institute numerous times now. So I would really echo that. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. Graham and then Jay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Graham, pronouns he, him, his. So from being inside two of the healing circles, co-facilitating with Manny on Men's Healing Circle, co-facilitating with Miss Betty on formerly incarcerated persons healing circle, I know that the conversation that comes up the most is relationships. Now, that's not exclusive to partnerships, but I know that like all relationships in those spaces, I think maybe, I guess what I'm saying is there could be a space specifically for conversations about relationships, or a segment done on that, because Miss Betty and Manny and I have both done that in our separate spaces, but it continually comes up as something that should be addressed. I know, like, coming out from inside, at like the two different perspectives, what my partner and I have experienced from two different perspectives, coming out into a relationship, it's hard, for lack of a more emphasizing word. It's hard, and I know that that is something that echoes throughout continually, just the idea of relationships. So maybe there's something that could be done around the topic of relationships exclusively.
I love that. Thank you so much, Graham. And something I read recently was just about how just transforming our culture is so dependent upon the way we build relationships with each other and what those relationships look like and what we envision as healthy relationships and things of that nature. And so, and the depth of our relationships with other people and our community members. And so I love that. Thank you so much, Graham.
Speaking about relationships and building, I just want to say that I've been attending the healing circle since I was able to get back with IJ. As of late, school's kind of hindering a lot of my stuff, but I wanted to say that those healing circles get lit. A lot more people should sign up. They're really helpful and helping to unpack a lot of the stuff that's going on. Being a young man from the urban city, from being a part of that patriarchy, tucking away feelings and not hiding it, sticking your chest out and all that nonsense, it takes a toll. You know what I'm saying? So being in these spaces and being able to unpack that and to be able to say, hey, I love you, hey, hug a brother, see people for who they are and just be able to properly express your emotions is invaluable. So I just want to, thank everyone in the healing circles, the healing committee, Miss Betty, Manny, Graham, Rashida for always facilitating or always holding space for us. Everyone, I appreciate y'all, and we just need more people. More impacted people, more people just to show up. You'll be amazed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have another hand raised that I'll go to, and then also Rashid, I don't know if you have any responses for any of these or anything, but Dara, if you wanted to share.
Hi. So just maybe a little expansion on what Graham has said, because he's now out and holding that space for couples who have reunited. Just to potentially have a space held for people who currently have relationships with people who are on the inside and we don't have access to them. And just to be able to have like a healing space for that, because, you know, there's, as everyone knows, there's a lot of really intense ups and downs with that, and sometimes not knowing really well how to be able to kind of let go of things because you have so little control on the outside, and you are very, it's real specific, the things that you do have control over. And just, you know, perhaps having space to learn a little more about how to heal ourselves and keep ourselves mentally intact to be able to continue those relationships that are strained because you are separated. That's it.
Malcolm, if you want to jump in.
Thank you. And I agree with what Ma'am was talking about. And she's right. We all need it because, you know, some people, you know, like you said, the relationships that they're there, but strained, you know, as soon as you heal, the sooner your relationship with others will be less strained, you know. Healing is, and I think healing is the best, it's a much perfect way to live our life, you know, instead of just living in sorrow and self-pity and, you know, and living inside and living in hurt instead. So I'm so heal. That's what I was going to say. We must heal for us to live our life, live life beautifully. You only have one chance at it, you know. And right now, I'm also hoping for the people that's locked up to be healed for what they're going through, and especially those of us that they used to be incarcerated.
Malcolm,
I think we lost him.
Yeah, but Rashida, I want to give you space. We are nearing our end, but I want to give you space to respond or share any thoughts after this feedback.
So I was able to write down all of the feedback, and it was very good feedback. So what I took from that is a lot of tangible tools. And again, we may not be able to address every single thing, but we can direct you to the resources to get your needs met, if that makes sense. And so again, we'll do our best with implementing all the spaces and all the ideas that you have. And again, healing looks different for everyone, but ultimately we just always want to remember to meet you where you are. So that's the beauty of healing, is showing up and meeting everyone where they are. Sorry, I'm in the car, so I have to watch my surroundings, but that's it. I don't want to take too much time. I love you guys and thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much, Rashida. And if you have any other thoughts, any other contributions, ideas, feedback, you can email joinhealing@initiatejustice.org. And I believe that was put into the chat. We can put it into the chat once more if it gets lost. But thank you, Rashida. Thank you for all of the feedback on all of our committees. So committee leads, thank you so much for all of the work that you do to hold space for us to be empowered, for us to do this work, and for us to be engaged in areas that we are comfortable doing so. So thank you, committee leads. Thank you so much to all of our members for providing feedback. And if there's any other general thoughts on our committee structure, just how we operate in terms of our outside membership that you want to share in the chat, please go ahead and drop that in the chat for us now. We would love to hear any feedback that you have. And then also, again, feel free to email committee leads with any additional feedback that you might have. But at this point, I'm going to pass it on to Daisy and Efrain to wrap us up.
Thanks, Antoinette. And again, we appreciate everybody for sharing their thoughts. You still have time in the chat, or just email us with those and we'll make sure we get them to the committee leads. But we're closing out tonight's meeting with announcing our member of the month. And this is where we highlight an Initiate Justice outside member who has made contributions to our work, and we want to uplift them and recognize them for their hard work. So I'm actually going to have Efrain help me with announcing this month's member and why we wanted to recognize this member.
Hey everybody, can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. It's actually my favorite part since I started with IJ joining the member meetings. I love this part, the way we highlight our members of the month, because as I mentioned, without you all being a part of our family, we wouldn't be where we're at today. You know, having just came on this member of the month, for myself, I've been on with IJ 2 months, but this member of the month is friend and ally, family to IJ. And her name has popped up for me so many times, and love seeing her here in the meetings. She's a powerful, again, like I said, she's a powerful ally who supports all that IJ does, but especially the Inside Membership Committee. She has entered about 900 new Inside members, has entered 347 new Inside organizers, attended the Abolition Podcast launch event and shares the podcast on our social media, always participates, contributes to our fundraising efforts, and donates. Always comes to the meetings and is asking what more they can do. Just today, I seen great input, great advice, always a part of our community and wanting to help us grow. Today, I mean, this month's member of the month is no one other than Rachel C. And I know she is here today. So everybody, let's give a big out for Rachel C. Give her some love on the chats. Put you on the spot if you would have any words you would like to share with. Again, being a part of Inside Membership or to continue. And I have any words to share with us. The floor is yours.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm gonna try and be red, but you can't really tell. Hi y'all. Thank you so much. I was not expecting that at all. I love Initiate Justice. And like the community care that y'all provide. I'm so proud of all the work you do, and I'm just so grateful that you provide a space for me and all of us to show up and work alongside all of you in solidarity. Thank you, IJ.
Thank you, Rachel, for all of your contributions. I hope you know that we absolutely love everything you do to support our work as a strong ally, and we are so lucky to have you. And hopefully folks can see that Rachel is definitely critical to our work in ensuring we can end mass incarceration and bring our loved ones home. So congratulations, Rachel. We'll be in touch with you to send you a Rolls Royce in full email format. But with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us at tonight's meeting. Again, very productive for us in getting this feedback that will help us expand the work that we are doing on the committee end. We will be having our last meeting of 2021 on Wednesday, December 1st at 6:30. So we will share out a link with that with folks as we approach the date. But we'll also share it in the chat in case you wanted to RSVP for that now. But it is happening first Wednesday of December. And we, again, if you're interested in signing up for a committee, you can sign up by following the link that we're going to be dropping in the chat. And for those who are brand new, please stay. We'll do a very short orientation just to get you onboarded. And this only applies to folks who are brand new to Initiate Justice. So if you're an outside organizer, you already graduated from our program, specifically just new community members who are coming to the space to learn about the work that we are doing. And we'll get you onboarded and get you the information you need. That way we can get you on your way. But thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And we really appreciate being in space with you all. Feel free to share your good night messages in the chat or unmute yourself as you exit the meeting. Stay tuned for those who are doing the orientation. We'll be with you in a couple of minutes.
Good night, everybody.